Hi, I'm Tim Bartz, Internet Sales Manager here at McArthur Ford in Salina, Kansas. And in this video we have recorded, it was actually recorded during our live stream that we do this last Tuesday. So, we do a live stream every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central, when we go over scheduling information, dealer news updates, recalls, and usually have a topic of the week and some other things. But more importantly, we answer your questions live, the community's questions. So we usually have about a couple hundred people in there each week that are watching this live and asking us questions about their order, or how they should order their vehicle and that kind of thing. And that's what we're here for, is to help you answer any questions. So if you want to join us live, and if you have any questions about scheduling, we can answer them live for you. Also, if you drop them down below, we'll try to get those responded as well. But feel free to come back next week. Again, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central, if you want to join us live and ask your question, and we can answer your individual question if it hasn't been answered in the past. So I hope you guys do enjoy this video, and I hope to see you next week. All right, so here we go. We're going to talk about scheduling information for this week. And we talk about scheduling, we're talking about when you want to get your order scheduled for production date, so they can get produced, get shipped, and to the dealer, and you can take delivery. So the first step, once you do that, or after you place that order, is to get it scheduled for production date. And so that's what we're talking about this week, is what each of the different models, how they're scheduling, and anything that might cause it to not get scheduled or hold it up from getting scheduled. That's what we're going to talk about in this. And that's this information kind of given to dealers if they're trying to get if they have allocations, try to use their allocations. We're going to talk about the different terms now. So let's jump into that. So we do this each week. So if you're watching the recording of this, go ahead and you can use that timestamp to flip ahead. If you're watching the live stream, just bear with us for just a little bit. So first off, the order bank. That is where the dealer places their stock in retail orders. So a retail order is a customer placed order. So if you are placing your order, that's if you go into your dealership, they don't have an inventory of what you're looking for. So then you try to place an order so you can get it built to your specifications. That would be a retail order. A stock order is an order placed by a dealer that they're figuring it's going to be stock inventory. They don't have a specific person in mind or already ordered for as basically a sold vehicle. It's just, hey, we think our customers would like these types of builds. They would place those stock orders. Now, a priority code is given to each of those orders. Retail order, that customer placed order, can be anywhere from a 03 to 19. I need to update this. I say that every week. And then stock orders are 20 to 80 for those. So the lower the better. So that's why a retail order is always looked at before a stock order with the same configuration. Got to mention that, because if there's a retail order that has configuration that's in hard supply or has a constraint, then sometimes it can be overlooked for a stock one because of that. Scheduling, that's what we're talking about here, where Ford is trying to schedule those orders for those production dates, which production date is when the vehicle is going to be built. A lot of times they'll first get scheduled to the week, and then when it gets closer, they'll schedule it down to the actual day. And that will change periodically throughout that time frame while it's waiting. Allocation is needed. So an allocation is something that Ford uses, a terminology. They give allocations to the dealers to schedule their orders. So basically means that if a dealer doesn't have an allocation, that order can't get scheduled. So how that dealer gets those allocations is based on their sales volume. So if a dealer sells so many, they're going to get enough of those allocations. Now, that number can come down based on what inventory they have. So as long as they get the same allocations and they turn that much each month, so let's say for us, we get about 6 to 8 Bronco allocations a month. As long as we continue to sell 6 or 8, we'll never have more than 6 and 8 in inventory at a time. We'll continue to get that 6 or 8 each month, if that makes sense. So if a dealer in a situation like for us, we have 0 Maverick allocations this month, so we'll not get any of our orders scheduled, our retail orders. Even though we have 17 available that need to get scheduled that are retail orders, we have 0 allocations. None of those will get scheduled this month. That's where it starts to get more difficult. Constraints, that is an option that might take to be in short supply or take longer to build. Could be because of supplier issues. It could be because of demand. So the capacity, which is the next one, affects that demand. So Ford will usually say, this is our capacity for each of the different trim levels and such. Based on that capacity, if the demand is higher, that's where we get that constraint. Or if the suppliers aren't coming through as much as they hope they could, that can also cause that problem there, the constraint. Job 1 and 2. So Ford will take their model year production run into 2 different runs, a job 1 and what they call a job 2. So if they want to make any changes or they need to make changes because of a supply issue, they'll do that halfway through the year and do that with a job 2. Some of the examples of that is recently with the F-150, the Pro Access tailgate was something that wasn't ready at the launch of at the model year, but halfway through the year it was ready for production, so they were able to make that a job 2 change and introduce it into job 2. We're going to also see that with the Bronco here real shortly. Probably in here in a couple of weeks, and they're going to be introducing job 2 to the Bronco as well, with some features that weren't available at the beginning of the model year. So, and then balance out, that is what an end of production run on a particular color. Sometimes the trim level will balance out, and then eventually the model will balance out at the end of the model year before going into the next model year. So there we go. That's all the terminology. So let's dive in and start talking about Mustang first. 24 model year Mustang. Order banks are open up for the Mustang right now. There's currently 699 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank for the Mustang. They are scheduling this week for the weeks of June 3rd through June 24th. They will be scheduling retail and stock orders on this batch. Last week, they tried scheduling all the retails they could. And then if you had a retail order that didn't get scheduled, then either the dealer didn't have allocations or it was a certain configuration they couldn't build. So then they'll try to fill that in with stock. I did a really good video yesterday. You probably should check out on the Maverick that kind of breaks that down and shows you and kind of talks about how that would happen. All right. So it does say in here, to speed up scheduling for orders with the Night Pony package, we encourage the dealers to modify their orders by selecting the Shadow Black paint. So they're having a problem with the Shadow Black painted roof. So if the whole vehicle is painted black, it helps them schedule those out if you have the Night Pony package. So there you go. So that's one of the constraints that we're having. Limit availability for the tire 64R. That's the 19 by 9.5 in the front, 19 by 10 in the back. The tarnished, dark painted, low gloss alloy wheel. Exhausted availability for the Night Pony package and the black painted roof. Both for probably the same reason, the black painted roof. Also, exhaustive availability for the tire TCF option, which is a 235/50 ZR18 all-season tire that's included in the EcoBoost. So there you go. So now this is probably, I need to add this terminology to there, but limited availability versus exhausted. So limited means that there is some supply out there. Exhausted means there's virtually none out there, and not necessarily none for the future, but this is based just for this week. Sometimes we might see that option carry over from week to week, but a lot of times it's a supply issue. Like this here actually is a paint issue probably with that black painted roof, whereas that tire is actually a supplier issue. So they're not able to get, maybe they got behind on that, on their supply. So there you go. That's how that works. All right, moving on to the 24 model year Escape. Order banks are open up for all trim levels of the Escape, even the plug-in hybrid. There's currently 153 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. Not that many. That's a very low number for model. They are scheduling this week for the weeks of 6/3 through 6/24, and they are scheduling both retail and stock orders this week. All right, that's all I have on that. 24 model year Bronco Sport. Order banks are open up for the Bronco Sport for about every trim level, including the Heritage Edition and the Freewheeling Edition. There's currently only 63 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. 63, not that many. Those probably happened this week. They are scheduling for the weeks of 6/3 through 6/24, scheduling both retail and stock orders. That says main commit. Limit availability for the Big Bend series. Also, the convenience package, which is optional on the Big Bend and Freewheeling, as well as the tire T7R, which is the 225/65 R17 all-season tire that's standard on the Big Bend. That's probably why the Big Bend trim in general is limited right there. And then exhaust availability for the tire T7F, which is the 235/65 R17 all-terrain off-road tire that's optional on the Badlands. So you might want to go with that standard one if you want to get scheduled. And then also the wheel 64T, the 17-inch carbonized gray high gloss alloy that's standard on the Big Bend. So now we're kind of when you see these different options of some that are exhausted, some are limited, it shows you why the Big Ben in general is limited. Is because, as we mentioned, the wheel is a supply issue, as well as the tire that goes with it is a supply issue, right? So that's why the Big Ben trim is a struggle. So other than that, you should be okay if you go with it. Something else than a different wheel, so that means a different trim. You should be okay. All right, next is the 24 model year Ranger. Order banks are open up for the Ranger. They are scheduled for the weeks of 6/3 through 6/24. And then there are currently 1,501 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. And I do have a note in here that this week is job one balance out commitment for both retail and stock. So we're going to be seeing job two, and I haven't seen any changes for job two yet for the Ranger, but I think in really soon we're going to see that. And we're seeing job two on the Bronco coming up soon too. So they're both built at the same plant. So I'm really excited to see what those different changes are. We were told that the 2.7 liter engine might be available in the Ranger later in the year. Late availability. We hope that is job two change. So hopefully, maybe the 2.7 will be available on the Ranger real soon. Let's see what else. Just say those that have an allocation for Ranger Raptor but don't have a retail order, they're going to go ahead and load a basically what they call a sim, and that's an order put in the system for the dealer to fulfill that allocation. So if you're a dealer out there, you don't have a retail order, make sure you put that stock order in the way you want it to be built, and don't let Ford dictate that. Limit availability for the forged beadlock capable wheel, that's optional on the Raptor, as well as the advanced towing package, which is optional on the Lariat 4x4. So that's option 67X. Not all the advanced towing packages, just the one for the Lariat 4x4, looks like, for some reason. So there you go. All right. Next is a 24 model year Bronco made at the same plant. Order banks are open up for about all trim levels with exception of the Heritage Limited and Heritage Edition. Those are balanced out. And they are scheduling for the week. Oh, there's currently only 2,338 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank for the Bronco right now. So very few. And they are scheduling this week for the week of 6/3 to 6/24. This week is job one balance out as well. So that factory is balancing out this week. So from a main into stock and retail for this week. Now, if you currently have going to the Ranger as well as the Bronco, if you currently have an unscheduled retail order, that would be a job one order. It still can get ordered in job two. Some people are thinking that maybe that means that they have to reorder. No, you don't have to reorder. It just automatically at a certain point will shift over and say they'll basically at that point make all those job twos. And the only impact that makes from most builds, it won't really make an impact in general unless you want an option that is now finally available in job two, that you can go ahead and make that change and put it on your order. Like maybe if the 2.7 becomes available in the in the Ranger, I should say, or on the Bronco, if maybe the painted hardtop comes out, we don't know. That is a possibility. I don't have any confirmation of that for sure, but there you go. Now, no availability this week for the 4-door Heritage Limited. And then, see, and that's different. Usually you have limited, exhausted. This is no availability. So they were not going to schedule any 4-door Heritage Limited, according to the notes. Exhaust availability for 43L. That's the hardtop molded in. So they were probably not going to schedule any hardtops or just a very small amount. They're going to focus in on soft top orders. So if you have a soft top order out there, that's going to be good for you. Now, next is the 24 model year Maverick. Order banks are open up for the Maverick for all trim levels and engine options. There's currently only 7,713 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. Looks like they scheduled almost 4,000 of those for production last week in all retails. So they're always going to do retail first. Now, this week, they are scheduling for the weeks of 6/3 through 6/24 for retail and stock scheduling. So there are dealers out there that don't have any retail orders, so they're getting stock orders scheduled. Yeah, like I said, watch the video yesterday that I did on the Maverick. That enlightens you a little bit on how things go in the way of scheduling, allocations, and why we'll see some stock ones being scheduled when there's still retail sitting in there unscheduled. basically has to go with allocations. That's the big kicker there. All right, so limited availability on the Maverick for the tire 7 or T7R, I should say. That's the 225/65 R17 tire that is on the XL and XLT only. So that'll probably be a struggle to get those scheduled. They'll schedule some, but not a lot. And then exhaust availability for the XL. So probably what happened is last week they scheduled all the XLs, the retail XLs, and they filled all their slots last week. So probably if you have an XL that didn't get scheduled last week for retail order, you probably won't get scheduled the rest of this month. That would be my take on that. And they won't schedule any stock ones. So there you go. All right. Next is the 25 model year Explorer. Order banks are open up for the Explorer for the 25 model year. So that's a nice looking Explorer. There's currently 326 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank, so not that many there. And they are scheduling for the week of 6/3 through 6/24. They're scheduling both stock and retail orders this week. Limited availability for the 2.3 liter EcoBoost engine, as well as the 3.0 EcoBoost engine. That's the only two options. So anyway, they said also limited availability for the Active and the Platinum. Both two-wheel drive and 4x4. Also limited availability for the 20-inch luster nickel painted aluminum wheel that's standard on the Platinum, as well as the 18-inch sparkle silver painted aluminum wheel that's standard on the Active, and the engine block heater, believe it or not, which is really weird. Exhaust availability for the ST line, so probably won't see any of those scheduled, as well as the ST. And then also exhaust availability for the 21-inch dark alloy polished aluminum wheel that's included in the Ultimate package on the Platinum, as well as the 20-inch carbonized gray painted 10-spoke that's available on the Active 4x4. So there you go. All right, next is the 24 model year Expedition. Order banks are open up for the Expedition, so you can place those orders. There's currently only 572 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank for the Expedition model. They are scheduling this week for the weeks of 6/3 through 6/24. They're scheduling both retail and stock this week. Limited availability for the mahogany interior that's on the Limited, as well as the 20-inch 6-spoke gloss black painted wheel that's optional on the XLT, that's also included in the black accent package for the XLT. And then it says exhaust availability for the XL, that is actually fleet only anyway. So there you go. Next up, 24 model year Mach-E. Order banks are open up for all trim levels, including the GT. There's currently only 14 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank for the Mach-E. They scheduled most of them last week, and that might be just based on allocation in general. They are scheduled this week for the weeks of 6/3 through 6/24, and this week is job 1 balance out. So then they'll be moving to job 2. So there you go. That's all I have for that Mach-E. Nothing, not too important there. All right. Next one up is always the long one. It's the 24 model year Super Duty. Order banks are open up for the Super Duty right now. There's currently 13,976 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. That number's coming down drastically this month. It was at 20,000 just 2 weeks ago, which is pretty awesome to see that come down. They are scheduling at the Kentucky truck plant this week for the week of 5/13, and at the Ohio truck plant for the week of 6/10. And then it does say some of the same notes as last week. So they need some orders, and they need some F250 and 350 XL and XLT orders with the 6.8 liter engine without the fifth wheel without the standard heavy duty alternator and the fifth wheel gooseneck hitch prep package. It's okay if they have just the alternator, but if you try to have both, then that's going to be a problem. And then also they're needing orders for the 7.3 liter pickup orders without the fifth wheel gooseneck hitch prep package. So that fifth wheel hitch prep package, they're kind of saving that for the upper trim levels. So there you go. All right. And then what else? 24 model year XL 6.8 gas Super Duty pickups will be excluded from the wholesale availability formula. So normally dealers get dinged a little bit if they don't sell it within 75 days. On the 6.8 liter motors, they're giving them 120 days. to sell those. Also, they need some spray and bed liners to keep the plant going there. They'll take those off site to the spray and bed liner plant, and they have a capacity of 28 to 32%, and they are well below that in orders. So they're saying go ahead and put those on there. You should be okay. All right, limited availability for the following options: the 6.7 liter high output diesel engine, which actually hadn't been on here for a while and is back on. Limited availability for the limited King Ranch and XL series, which is, I think, is kind of weird. 4x4. Actually, I think that's there's something missing from that one, so I'll omit that. I think it's supposed to be the 4x4 front Dano axle that's available on the 450 and 550. The LED projector headlights, which is available on the limited and it says premium. Maybe that's supposed to be platinum. The TGK tire, the 225/70R 19.5 G tire, that's on for the 4x4. That's optional on the 450 and 550 chassis cab, as well as that the tire TGM, which is the 225/70R 19.5 G. That's on the two-wheel drive 450s and 550 chassis cabs as well. And then the 4x4 front axle that's available on the 450 and 550 is limited, as well as a max recline seat. That's option 90M. So that one that's standard on the limited, optional on the Lariat, King Ranch, and Platinum, as well as a 203-inch wheelbase, a fuel tank with the low sulfur diesel fuel. That's option 98L. And then option 15K, fifth wheel hitch kit. That's that is basically, I think it's not available. It says on the King Ranch Platinum and Limited. So that's not optional on those. So it's standard on those. Anyway, fifth wheel hitch kit. So that's different than the prep package. The hitch kit is also a constraint there. So there you go. All right. That's that. 24 model year F-150. Order banks are open up this week for the F-150. There's currently 5,362 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank for the F-150. They are scheduled this week for the week of 6/3. So there you go. They are needing some base Raptor orders. So if you have an allocation, if you don't have a retail order, they're going to put in some orders for you or for the dealers that need those, and they're going to make them base. So there you go. And it also says orders required with a tow haul package, option 53T, in any of the max trailer tow axles. So if to get an order with the max trailer, the tow haul package, I should say, does require either XL5, which is a 355 max tow electronic locking axle, or XL7, which is a 373 max tow electronic locking axle. So you need one of those if you want the tow haul package. So it requires electronic locking. All right. Next is the 24 model year Transit. Order banks are open up for the Transit. They are taking orders. There's currently 6,284 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank for the Transit. They are scheduled this week for the week of 6/3 and the week of 6/10. This is job one balance out as well for this week, and limited availability for the E-Transit, as well as the fifth row double seat. That's it, man. They took a lot of they used a lot more on the Transit than that, but they took those off. So that is the scheduling for this week. So hopefully you guys have great luck getting your order scheduled. And if you're watching the recorded version from Wednesday of this, drop your questions down below in the comments, and we'll try to reply to those as quickly as we can. If you're watching the live stream, I got Sarah Niles here to help answer any of those questions you have on scheduling. Sarah's pretty up to speed on that, so we'll take you back to her.